now if everybody's ready, and you're welcome to today's session. We'll start by introducing you to the USA team. We're all here to help you along your virtual internship journey, and we expect you to engage and participate and communicate with us to help you. So in the USA London office, we've got Hattie. If you want to say hello.
I'm on mute, sorry. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's virtual orientation. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And then in the Dublin office, there's myself and Donal. We're the co-directors there. Hello. In Madrid, we've got Almendra. Excellent. On mute, just waving. Good times. And then we've got Paris, John in Paris.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
And Jana in the Prague office.
Dobrý den z Prahy.
Perfect. So you will now hopefully have access to your information in your student folders, which includes this program overview. It's a super handy roadmap to see where you are in the stage of the internship program with us. It is specific to each university, so the dates may vary, which is why we don't have the dates displayed here. We are currently at stage 6, which is the internship orientation. You'll be starting your internships on Monday, so hopefully you're all very excited about that. And then it will proceed through the various other steps. So there'll be some cultural events. There's a midpoint review to see how you're getting on. Hopefully you'll engage in that and tell us how it's all going. It's also an opportunity to engage in the growth tracker tool, which you'll have been told about, to update that so that it gives you a full and comprehensive breakdown of your skills achieved during your time in your internships. We'll then have an unpacking your experience workshop with you just to see how you all got on and found the whole thing. And then your internship program ends. So hopefully it all goes really, really well for you. We're all here to help, though if you need anything from us, please do feel free to email. I'm going to pass you over to Almendra for the next slide.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Catherine. So to get us started, we're going to do a Menti, and we're trying to sort of get ourselves in the mind frame of working virtually. And so for that purpose, what I'd like you to do is, using your phone, take the QR code or go to menti.com and put in that code, and then basically indicate what do you associate with working with virtual teams. And so I do believe Hattie has put into the chat those details as well in case you want to copy paste into your browser. I'm going to stop sharing my screen in a moment so that I can switch over to the Menti and so that we can start seeing where you are when it comes to your thoughts, predisposition, etc., with regards to virtual teams. So I'm just going to stop sharing for now and open up my Menti so that you guys can see that. So let's get that happening. Let's start sharing that so that you guys can see what's going to be the key words for your association of working as part of virtual teams. Here we go. So what we're seeing so far is that teamwork is one of the largest coincidental words, along with Zoom. Yes, definitely part of virtual teamwork. Communication, yes, absolutely. Communication is a big part of this virtual space. Then we also have a couple more words that are coming up as larger. We've got organization, collaboration, and then flexibility. Let's keep seeing as this word cloud develops. At this point, communication is the largest of the common words. Wonderful. So one of the things to keep in mind is that we do have associations already with regards to working as a part of a virtual team. Whether or not we change our definitions of what that is will be determined greatly by the type of collaboration that you're going to be having with the organizations where you're going to be interning virtually over the course of this summer. So we're going to be keeping these words in mind, and we're going to keep exploring this idea of virtual collaboration, virtual work, virtual teams. Thank you very much for indicating your preferred words. I'm going to stop sharing this and go back to our presentation so that we can look a little more fully at the subjects that are coming up. So one of the things that I'd like to point out is that, as you know, working as part of a virtual team is really not something new. There have been international teams working together since the 80s. That said, though, there has been a need to kind of document the state of virtual work. And so there is a survey that gets passed out year after year. It's called the State of Remote Work. And we're going to be sharing some of the results with you of that particular survey here so that you can see not only what do you think about it, but what do another group or another majority of people consider it as well. So one of the questions that gets asked on this survey is, would you recommend remote work? And as you can see, a vast majority of people, 97%, would do that. This year's survey has a little bit of a difference as opposed to years before because of the advent of COVID, because of the advent of the move in mass to the virtual world. But in general, these results don't vary very much from the year before. Another one of the questions that gets asked are, what are the biggest benefits of working virtually? And as you can see here, the vast majority and the biggest benefit that's described is this ability to have flexibility, this ability to have a flexible schedule with 32%. 25% indicate that the flexibility to work from anywhere is one of the greatest benefits. And as you can see, not having to commute, ability to spend time with family, ability to work from home, as well as others appear on this data. One of the things, though, that also comes up in this particular survey is that the biggest struggle to work virtually has changed quite drastically this year. In past years, collaboration and communication difficulties were the predominant challenges, and as well as loneliness. But in this year, 27% of remote workers selected not being able to unplug as their biggest struggle to remote work. And perhaps that's something that you might be feeling as well. So it's important to consider this and to make time for yourself to unplug, to make sure that you're not always at the computer, not always working or not always doing academic work. This year, the second greatest challenge was a hardship with collaboration as well as loneliness. So if you are interested in the results of this survey, I think Hattie is, sorry, I just stopped sharing, but I do believe Hattie's putting the link into the chat box so that you can access that. Of course, it's also listed at the bottom of this slide. Moving forward then with this, what I'd like to know from you, and we're going to be using the chat box for this. What I'd like to know from you is, what do you hope this experience will give you? And we're thinking in terms of the benefits, the growth, both on a professional as well as a personal level. But what I'd like to ask you guys first is to list the professional benefits or what you hope to gain professionally from this experience. And Hattie, because I'm monitoring this, I would like to have you, if possible, to read what results are coming in from the students in terms of the professional gains from this virtual internship experience.
Absolutely, yes. So I am monitoring the chat box. So if everybody can start by sharing their thoughts on the professional side of things. Aaron, thank you for sharing your thoughts. If we can give everyone just a couple more seconds just to type in their thoughts. Thank you, Vindy and Christina. Thank you, Mac. Well, Almendra, I can start sharing some of these.
Yes,
with
please.
you.
Yes, please.
I get to help somebody who built a business expand it. Very exciting. I will aid in my hands-on experience for the career field I would like to pursue. And I hope to make connections through networking and also work on communication skills and real-world work experience.
Great, great.
And there's still an opportunity for the other students on this call to type in the chat box there. Jennifer, thank you. I would like to build on the skills that I have learned in my classes. Yes, applying that academic work that you've done in a professional setting. I hope to learn more about how psychology works in the professional world and get a better idea of what it would be like to work with people as a career. Very interesting. It will provide me with an experience in a field that I don't currently have experience in. Yeah, experience in a professional work environment, that's a big one, and developing skills that you've learned in your academics in a professional setting, exposure to a corporate field, and again, improving communication and research skills. So the two key themes there, Almendra, is having some professional experience and being able to use your academic skills in that sphere, and developing core skills related to growth trackers such as communication and research.
Fantastic. Now, how about personal gains? What do you think working virtually this summer is going to give you in terms of personal gains? Because, you know, we are talking about developing professional skills, but we're also talking about personal growth, working on, you know, not that soft skills aren't professional as well, but obviously soft skills and other things regarding ourselves personally. So if you could take a moment and in the chat box, think for a moment, and then personally, what do you hope to gain out of this?
And I'll be monitoring the chat box again. So please do go ahead and share. We'll give you a few seconds to think about this. It may not be something you've thought of in great detail. I know you've all had finals recently and you've been busy with your courses, but this is a great opportunity to think about those benefits. Zoe, thank you. Connections to a global network of people. Yeah, very, very cool. Becoming a more organized individual. Thank you, Casey. Language skills. Yeah, improving Spanish. Feeling more confident in Spanish. Giving you an opportunity to step outside of your comfort zone. Yeah, perhaps you haven't traveled internationally before. This is your first exposure to a new country or culture. Thank you, Christina. Confidence and communication again. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Victoria.
These are great. These are really great personal goals. I mean, I can think of other ones like perhaps time management, you know, how to handle working across time zones, how to handle balancing what you've got going on, you know, in person and what you've got going on remotely. I can also think of trying and sort of practicing this idea of achieving that work-life balance, no? Because, you know, when you are working and living, you know, how important and how important is your time to you and where do you want to devote it? And this is a great opportunity to practice that. Wonderful. So thank you guys for your comments here with regards to what you hope to gain. We are going to be keeping this in mind throughout the program because it's important that expectations get met. It's important that we are able to achieve the goals that we have for ourselves. And, you know, through Growth Tracker, obviously, as part of the program, you will be given that opportunity. I'm going to turn the presentation now over to Jana, our colleague in Prague, who's going to work us through some of the cross-cultural elements of working as part of an international virtual team.
Thank you, Almendra, and greetings from rainy Prague. We have the rainy day after sunny days, and we have evening here now because it's six hours difference with the East Coast. And I would like to mention some differences or some areas you would pay attention. And the first is cultural and linguistic differences in communication. It is not only because of the virtual workspace, but also you will work with the people from different cultures, let's say, despite the globalization so far. And you will talk in details in the city-specific part of this orientation. And when we talk about because I am also a linguist and I teach language, and about the linguistic differences, I would use the examples when you communicate with the Czech colleagues, and don't expect long emails. Don't expect emails with how are you doing? I hope you are doing well. Usually the emails will be very direct and very brief. And also your supervisor will expect this way of communication, because usually people here, they don't have time to read like a 1 page, 2 pages emails. This is my recommendation for Czech Republic, for example, when you communicate here. Almendra, would you like to add something?
I want to say something.
I
would say it's completely different for Spain and for communication in Spain.
Yeah, I was going to say the same for the UK, the polar opposite of that in some ways.
Especially if you've had a conversation with a supervisor, with a colleague, and they've mentioned something that they're going to be doing on the weekend, when you write them on the Monday, ask them about it. So how was that trip with your children to, because that small talk piece, we haven't lost it. We really haven't. So, and it shows, it's a sign of relationship building as well over here.
Probably it will come here in Czech Republic when you build a relationship, right? When I asked the supervisor after the meeting, how was it? And I was excited. Oh, it was good. It was great. I accept your student. That was, and then I called them and I asked them for more details and so on. But definitely it was like, yes, great, not great. It was good means great. I mean, in Czech environment, right? Be ready for that. And about the conversational pacing styles, again, I would like to use the example from Spain. That what I learned that the Spanish people interrupt each other because our one another, because everyone to express himself or herself. The people like to talk and they don't wait for the pause. What is opposite to English, right? Environment, what I learned, that the people are like, respectful, they wait when you finish. And when I talk about a Czech environment, it's a mixture. It depends on the dynamic of the group. And also when there are the people, they know each other, they have a lot of ideas, they will jump over each other. But if it's formal meeting, probably people will wait. And when they are asked, they will answer, or they will share their opinion. And other part you would focus on, it's the concept of the high context and low context culture or society. When we talk about the low context communication, it's almost that you will receive the information very clear and detailed, and with the guidelines, it is direct. But when we talk about the high context, usually the sender, or when I talk to you, I will say, just do it. Just you have this task. I will not give you so much information, because I assume that you know it already, that you find it out by yourself. Be careful, especially again, I will talk about the Czech environment. We were comparing to the United States, not to the other countries. We are more high context than US. And this is what I already told you during our meetings before. Ask questions. If you are not clear what you should do, just make clear and ask. Then maybe 2 questions more is better than to make mistake and then to see like a not nice face of your supervisor. And now I touch the nonverbal communication. There is not like a complete absence of nonverbal communication, because you will see the face of your supervisors and you can read if they are happy or they smile. Also, you will see a lot of from eyes and eye contact. I know it's also difficult through the online communication, Zoom communication, but still try to focus on the camera and not to shake your hand left and right, because it is, especially in a Czech environment, it is very unpolite that you don't keep the eye contact, and smile is very important, just to express your politeness. Sometimes even the gestures, you see that I can show my hand, and I cannot speak without my hands, right? Maybe Almendra will add something from the Spanish environment.
I think it's fairly similar. You know, we will be using our hands. You will see probably some more movement, but definitely this idea of maintaining that visual contact, which of course is also more tiring in the virtual space. So because you're so concentrated, but be aware that there is less, but it's still there, and you still want to be picking up on it.
Yeah, and actually, this is like the last for this meeting. The area is a different stage of group formation, ability to work as a team. Yes, in virtual environment, it looks like that it's more difficult to build a team. But honestly, I work in the different team through the 1 year, and we meet more often than we would meet in person. And also maybe that you start to build your team with your supervisor, then other people will be added, and then maybe that also the other company can be added, and you will cooperate. It means the size of your team could be varied, just the very small, maybe big. Also maybe that you will be invited for some conference or some big meeting. Even it is not like your topic, I would recommend you to take part in this, to see the dynamic of communication, how people communicate, and to learn from this. Thank you, Almendra. And we will talk a little bit about the virtual work and meeting etiquette, because after 1 year, we learn a lot how to deal with this virtual space. And what I highly recommend it, and I do it even I have in my cabin, just set up a dedicated workspace. It's nice even you move from one corner to the other corner of your room to have a maybe table or desk. I don't recommend you to work from sofa. It's nice, but it doesn't work. And be organized. It means set your table. You can have like a cup of coffee there, or what I recommend you to have a notebook to take the notes and pencil, because when you type on your computer, it is kind of distraction as well. And when we talk about distractions, recommend you again, close the door, turn off your cell phone, turn off the TV or music, everyone, and just imagine that you are in the office, in the open space. There are a number of people. Everyone needs a quiet space. Look into the camera. When you are in the supervisor, don't turn off your camera. It is, especially in a Czech environment, it is very unpolite that you are not in touch with the person you are communicate. And there is the recommendation to have some eye sticker or smiley next to or need the camera just to focus on it. Actually, I have the flowers behind my notebook, and I focus on my flowers. Now are tulips there. And frame the camera correctly, because sometimes you can have some, you don't think what is behind you, right? And yeah, the recommendation is the white wall, but sometimes you cannot do it like me. I have the bookshelves behind me. It looks very intellectual, right? And also pay attention, be fully present. And sometimes we think that we can type, we can listen, we can read something. It works maybe for 3% of people. They can multitask, but multitasking is over. And build and use your support network. It is not only about your professional network, but it is for your like a personal network, for the balance that you have friends, you can meet them regularly, walk the dog, ride a bike, whatever. Just find a find the way of the balance between the professional work, between work and your personal life. And this is connected with the schedule. Because sometimes we think that we can do everything in 1 minute and we jump into the computer and on the notebook we work and then we jump for a couple of minutes. It's better to sit like, hey, I will work from 9 to 12 with the breaks. And then I have a lunchtime, and just to build it and stick with this. I know it is very difficult because we think that we have time, we are not control, and the procrastination works. And also, for example, when you need to change the meeting with your supervisor, let him or her know in advance. This is the way of your reliability and also responsibility. It can happen. Maybe that you have headache. Maybe that you have to go for the certain very important appointment, but please just let your supervisor in advance. And when you finish the task, maybe that you have a deadline on Thursday, but the task is finished on Wednesday, let know the supervisor, surprise him or her that you did it, and ask for other project or other work. This is my recommendation, and you will build the very close relationship, because you will be with your supervisor for at least 7 weeks, 8 weeks. It depends how your program is long. And be sure that you will build a very nice relationship. I cross fingers for that. And also, I am sure that when the supervisor doesn't have time, she will let you know as well in advance. And also, for example, you have some complicated task or projects, and you see that you cannot keep, or you cannot stick with the deadline. Let's know your supervisor in advance and set a different deadline. Or also ask for support. Maybe that you will not have enough data. Just ask supervisor for it. Especially in the European context, is connected with the GDPR and also European privacy and labor laws. They're pretty strict here. And maybe that some information won't be able to share. Just ask supervisor how to deal with this. This is my recommendation. Again, question and communication. This is the core for the good cooperation. Okay, this is everything from my side in this moment. And because I talk a long time, I think. We will move into the brainstorming breakout session. It means that, sorry, I have the cheat list here because I will read a very nice story. And before you will be divided into breakout rooms or sent to the breakout rooms. And you will think about the questions that are here. I mean, what challenges might you face during the virtual, etc. I would like to share a story I got from Almendra, and I like the story. It's about a famous swimmer, Michael Phelps. I see that it happened like 12 years ago, but maybe that you know about him. And I will share the story from the book written by Emily Balcetis. It's called Clearer, Closer, Better. And the book gives insights into how training the way you think helps you achieve your goals. And Emily Balcetis is Associate Professor of Psychology at NYU, and she's recently appeared on NPR Hidden Brain podcast. And I will read it because it's a pretty long story. And I start. She tells of how Michael Phelps is a doomsayer of sorts. He foreshadowed failure as part of his routine. Back in the Beijing in 2008, he was on the doorstep of making history. In that year's games, he had won 7 gold medals. Only the 200 fly sat between him and winning 1 more gold, which would make him more decorated in the single Olympic Games than anyone else in history. But right as he dived in for the start of the race, his goggles started leaking. By the 150-meter mark, they were almost completely full of water and he couldn't see. But he didn't panic. He was prepared for this incident because he had long made it a habit to visually simulate all obstacles he might encounter. He materializes each possible failure, crafting a vivid, concrete, intangible image in his mind of how his plan might go wrong. Then he takes it a step further and devises a solution. In this case, he calmly switched his concentration to his stroke count, which he could do because he knew exactly how many strokes would get him across the pool as fast and efficiently as possible. As a result of practicing the art of visualizing success and troubleshooting solutions to major obstacles, he knew exactly what he needed to do when disaster struck at those Olympic Games, and did it to win his 8th gold medal. Eventually, he would have 15 more. I hope that you like the story. And like Phelps, we are training for the virtual unexpected by planning how things could go wrong. And for this to be a success, we will need to work together. Please take out a piece of paper or take notes on your computer, it's up to you, and make a list of potential challenges you might face. Don't limit it to tech issues. It is possible to solve out, and think more broadly. You have a couple of minutes to write it down before you will be sent to the rooms. It means what challenges might you face during the virtual internship, and write down as many examples as you can on your own.
Jana, just let me know when you want me to move the students to the breakout room.
Probably, I think that we could send students to the breakout rooms, and in the breakout room, you are going to share what you've come up with and decide which are the 3 best challenges that you will discuss, your challenges, your list, and also discuss the possible solutions, because you would like to hear the solutions, how to solve the problem or situation. And my recommendation is to appoint a note taker, because we will discuss, there will be a number of ideas, and appoint a note taker, because after you're working in the group, you will present it, you will share your challenges, and also there is the possibility you can write it down, and you can use the Word document, and then you can copy paste into the chat. But also we would like to hear from you. And Hetty, if you are ready, if your rooms are ready.
Sure. So there's going to be 3 to 4 students in each room, and you're going to have 10 minutes in the room, so you can take your time. And as Jana said, we will be asking the appointed note taker to share your discussions when we come back as a group after the breakout rooms close at the end of the 10 minutes. So I'm going to open the rooms now. You may be directly taken there. You may have to hit a button that says join room. To the staff on today's presentation, you're all in room 1, so just don't join the room or come back. And I'll open those up now.
Thank you.
Cool. Excellent. Perfect.
I forgot to silence everything. Sorry. Like bing,
Oh,
bing.
me too. I had Slack and email.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
So we've got 10-minute breather.
Yeah. Almendra, will you pause the recording or will you record everything?
I'm just going to record it, but then I'll just cut this because we've
Yeah.
never tried it, so I don't want to
Yeah.
let's
pause
try
it and then
sometime soon.
forget to hit it again, or
It's better.
Yeah, we should try it one day.
We should try it.
to do it
Trial,
amongst
yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my students, she apologized because she has to leave for plane. I knew that Viviana left.
Yeah, I had a couple of students drop out. I'm assuming they had class or something or other, maybe finals.
Mm.
Coolio.
What slides have we got left-ish?
After this, I think it's just my housekeeping slide.
Okay, so we should do it in about an hour then.
I think we should be done. Yeah.
So they're going to come back in about 8 minutes, and then we can probably
Debrief a tiny bit. Yeah.
5 to 7, maybe.
Yeah.
And then I can keep my bits short.
What is your bits called? It's called on the.
I've got troubleshooting, evaluations, and attendance, and then the exit poll, and then here's the list of breakout rooms for the city specific. Yeah.
And my email is ready to go.
Thanks,
with all the different links.
In the new way that Julie's described it, this is the what? This is the piece.
This is the briefing, is it? Or
This
not?
is the briefing, right?
This is the internship briefing. Yeah.
Which is clearly our favorite part. Oh man.
I really liked the typing in the chat box, and I like the Menti actually. The Menti was busier than it normally looks. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And I love the Michael Phelps story. It's such a good one. I really like that story. Yeah.
It is a nice one. I don't know, when I read it, it stood out to me. It's like, oh, all right. That's what we got to do.
Indeed.
It's a train.
But he said, that book, that I really do recommend that book, though. It's wild. It starts out with a man who was training to jump out of an airplane without a parachute.
What?
And land on a thing that really wasn't that big in the middle of the desert at night. And they lit it up so that he could know where the bullseye was.
Mm-hmm.
And so he does it, and he lands where he's supposed to land. And because it's this idea of training how you see things. So if you put a really, really narrow focus, what does that do? It allows you to concentrate, it allows you to hit your mark, it allows you to do all of this, versus moments where you need an expansive point of view, when you need to see more things. And so she goes through different examples of people with herself as part of the story, because she sets herself up to play a song on the drums, and she gives herself a year to do it, and she's never played the drums before, and she's going to do it in front of a group of friends and like give a concert. And so it's sort of interweaved with her experience of trying to prepare for something like this, and then all of her research. It's really cool. But you can also just listen to the podcast if you want.
Okay.
The cheat sheet. It's Hidden Brain NPR, and her name is, well, it's all in the notes there. It's Emily Balsidis.
Yeah, Balsidis, yeah.
But yeah, so I saw heard the podcast, and then I decided to buy the book, and it was pretty
Great.
cool.
Excellent.
Nice. How many minutes?
They've been there for 4. Or it counts down, doesn't it? Yeah, they've been in there for 6. Congrats, Jana, on placing the students.
Yeah, well done.
Do you feel relieved? Do you feel like, oh.
It was like that because yesterday it was the moment that it was like last shot, because the other companies I had, they say no. And I was a little bit manipulative with the supervisor because
You have to be.
he was on his vacation. I told him that I assume I would like to say yes, okay. And he sent me the email, and they agreed to start a little bit later, but I told him that he has to start next week. I called him today. It was good because normally this position is very competitive because of the company and our organization. But fortunately, I know that Esha has the set. She has something more than other interns. She is from Pakistan. She speaks Urdu and so on. She has especially for this organization is other value they know, because there will be a different perspective.
Yeah.
And now this is what I share with someone of you already, that I have students, they look like clear that it's like this.
Yeah.
I don't know what is this. The most complicated are already placed, but the clear business students and so on.
Yeah.
With a great resume, everything, but they are in June. It's for me time. Yeah, but thank you also for your support, because you navigated me how to work with the database. It was like nightmare for me. I say, no, but slow down, Jana, and it worked. Your experience.
Catherine, were you able to get that student into the database, into the programs?
Hattie is genius. Hattie is genius. Yeah, she just put her in there, not a problem, made it look like there wasn't any issue at all, and made me look a bit stupid actually. So that's fine. But thank you.
Yeah,
I know there was
waiting for her to disappear again. That's what I'm scared of.
Yeah, there's something about a space before her email address, was it, or something? That was.
I went to the email box where if you've got a duplicate, you go in and you edit and you put duplicate. I went there and there was a space after the primary email address, so I just deleted the space, hit save, and then it just all appeared again in the DB. So
unbelievable. Magic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
High priestess of the database. Yay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
The thing about the database though is there's so many buttons and things we don't use. Do you not think it could be stripped back and it'd be so much easier? There's so many like tabs that I never even look at or never.
Yeah, no, me too.
Basically, student details overview notes box. That's literally like it. Yeah. So
there are other parts. Passport details. I go to other places.
But there are other little bits. But there's also all these tabs with like check boxes if you've sent certain things. Or
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't do that at all. No.
I mean, that was the whole idea of the database in the first part, to know, that at any time where everything was and how updated it was.
Totally. We have 1 minute, by the way, and these students are going to start whizzing back. So yeah, it's 10 to 5, so we should probably keep the debrief to what, 5 to 7 minutes, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They will share the changes right now only,
they should share them in the chat box, and I can read them, or we can.
Okay, perfect.
We don't need to screen share again. We could keep it, and
we're gonna keep it like this, and we're gonna ask them to type them in, and then we're gonna ask if you click on. So let's make Jana a co-presenter. Can you, Hattie? Can you make Jana a co-presenter? A co-host, sorry.
Jana, you are now a co-host.
Thank you.
Which means that if you click on the section of groups, you can see who was part of what group number. I don't know what it's called in English.
Yeah. It's number 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Yeah.
So you can ask them, and we don't want them to repeat the same things. We want them to add new things. Okay, let them in.
Why do they get another?
They've got 30. They have 30 seconds.
Oh, here we go.
Because that's how it's set up.
Right, right, right.
It's sort of a, it's a plate, yeah, it's a courtesy. It's a courtesy. You get 30 extra seconds just in case you need to like pull yourself together before you come back into the main room.
Yeah, a couple people are in.
Yeah, we've got just looks like 6 folks. 5.
They're
really there.
Yeah, they are back. No, not yet. Yeah.
1 more student, perhaps.
I think that everyone is back.
Yeah, cool.
Welcome back, and we are very curious which the best challenges you discussed, and I would like to ask you, the note takers, if you can paste the biggest, or the best challenges in the chat box.
And I'll be monitoring the chat box again.
Yeah, thank you. You like it, right?
I love doing the tech. I love.
Oh, perfect. Please, yeah, if you can paste it or type it, because we have 5 groups, and yeah, that is the first one. Zoom. Oh, sorry, Hetty, it is yours. I know that you like it. I can read it.
Thanks, Casey. Zoom burnout. Yep. Language, cultural barrier, and lack of work environment. Yeah, those are pretty big ones. And in Emma's group, miscommunication, huge, and I'll be talking about that shortly. Time zone differences, managing given work. Victoria, scheduling issues, communication and cultural differences. So we're getting some similar themes here. Unsure of asking questions, scheduling and cultural differences. So a couple of key themes there: communication, culture, and then Zoom fatigue.
And probably the last one.
And Jennifer, thank you. Lack of non-verbal communication, yeah, cultural difference and language barrier, which can be sometimes exacerbated over Zoom, and time difference, supervisors working on a different schedule, which requires very good organizational skills. Thank you.
Thank you very much, all of you. And Hetty, will you continue with your part of the...
Can I just ask a question? So when it comes to certain ones of these that have appeared, like language, culture barrier, what are possible solutions? Could somebody so either Casey or, for example, Victoria or Eve or even Jennifer, if one of you could unmute, what kind of a solution did you find to this in your group? How did you do as Michael Phelps and see the solution out of the problem?
Yes, we came up with some solutions. I just didn't have a chance to type them. So for the organization challenges, we said that it's a good idea to, come up with a good work-life balance. And then with communication problems, we mentioned that it's necessary to keep your supervisor informed and just on the loop of everything. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to the cultural challenges, I think the best solution would be try to adapt and, just ride out of the culture shock and just be flexible, I guess. And that's all I have.
Wonderful. What about suggestions, any other suggestions with regards to cultural differences that you came up with? So Jennifer or Eve or...
Our group said that you could try to read current events just so that you can be generally informed and have a better idea of climate or what people are talking about.
Great, yeah. When students came over before we all went virtual, that was one of the key tips get, find out, what are people watching? What are they seeing? What are they living, breathing? And that way you can get closer to them, because you want to find the commonality in order to adapt. But of course, there are going to be those things that just, it's like, what? They did what? And it comes from your stomach, right? Because it's not what you're expecting. So how do you overcome that flexibility, as Victoria said? Exactly. Are there any other examples, Hattie, Jana, that you would like some of the students to talk about before we move on?
I would like to only repeat myself before the keyword or key strategy is to communicate, be flexible. And if there's anything, just to be in touch with your supervisor, even via email. Maybe you will have WhatsApp group. It's up to you the way, but be informed. And it's even with scheduling, even there is the time you work in the different time zone, it is manageable. Only to set it and to communicate.
Jana, that was the perfect segue for the next slide. Almendra, if you don't mind. And just so everybody knows, if you're looking at me, I've got you guys here, but my camera's here, so I'm going to look over here now. But to begin, and some of the themes I'm going to talk about have been discussed already in today's presentation, but just to reinforce, communication is different when you're working remotely, obviously, for some of the reasons you just shared, the lack of kind of non-verbal cues, and most of your communication is going to happen through online chats and emails. So you can't rely on those in-person connections you may have in an in-person internship to clarify something. So that's a reality. So it's good to go into this internship aware of that. My biggest piece of advice is, at the start of your internship, ask your supervisor how they prefer to communicate. Okay, and this demonstrates to the supervisor that you want to set yourself up for success as well. So if face-to-face is the preference for your supervisor, ask to schedule a weekly video chat. If they prefer email, consider sending them a weekly email that recaps the progress or what you've been working on that week. If the supervisor likes a phone call, ask to schedule a weekly phone call with them. And one thing I would advise that our supervisors love is have an agenda ready, a list of items you want to discuss during that meeting. It shows that you're prepared and you can capitalize on that synchronous, rich time with your supervisor. Sending an agenda ahead of time is also a good way to help your supervisor come prepared to answer any questions or any of your needs on that call. So establishing a clear communication channel, as simple as it seems, is a great technique to avoid confusion or problems later down the road. However, if you do get stuck on a task or need more information from a team member or have a general concern, and that happens to all of us, it happens to me quite regularly when I'm collaborating on projects with my colleagues, remember first and foremost to just stay calm, just stay chilled. And self-learning, I know this is very obvious, is a very valuable kind of learning. So try to support yourself as much as possible. For example, first you could look for help from perhaps another intern or colleague or teammate, many of whom you'd be surprised would be very happy to help you if you just approach them. So you don't necessarily have to limit yourself to a single mentor. However, of course, if you want to talk to your supervisor to troubleshoot, we totally recommend that you do that. We want you to do that. But again, just remember to stay calm, think about perhaps how the project should be approached or the questions you want to ask, so that you come to that meeting prepared to get what you need essentially. And of course, reach out to USA as well. We're all here to support you. And if you're unsure how to resolve a matter, approach a matter, or feel uncomfortable, just talk to us. That's what we're here for. We have years of experience between us getting students through internships. Some of them, it's their first internship experience. Some it's their third or fourth. And we've seen all kinds of questions. And no question is too small in our opinion. You're here to learn. We're here to support you. I regularly ask my friends and colleagues for advice, and so use us as a resource too. Almendra, can I go to the next slide on evaluations? Thank you. So attendance. I can do attendance, thank you. So everybody is working a combination of synchronous and asynchronous hours. And if you're unclear what your hours are, please talk to us. You can refer to the program roadmap in your student information folder for the total number of hours per week you should be working. But again, if you're ever unclear, please do speak to us. Time off is not permitted on the program. This is a short-term internship experience and you're not entitled to annual leave, unfortunately. If you have extenuating circumstances, of course, talk to us, but we want you to maximize this opportunity. So it's in your best interest to stick to the agreed schedule. And if you're unwell, that can happen. Make sure that you contact your supervisor and USA. It's that simple. Thanks, Amandra. Cool, evaluations, the last slide of the group section of today's presentation. I'm going to plug Growth Tracker here, and you should all be familiar with Growth Tracker. If you're not, please log into the Student Gateway after this meeting. As a reminder, Growth Tracker is a tool designed to support your professional development and to help you define and develop your objectives during the internship. So you're going to revisit Growth Tracker. We'll be reaching out to you at the midpoint of your internship to ask you to provide examples of how you're developing in those chosen competencies you picked when you registered with us. And you're going to come up with examples of achievements that align with those areas you decided you wanted to work on. And at the end of the internship, this is the most exciting bit of Growth Tracker, in my opinion, you receive a Growth Tracker summary. And I wish I had had one of these from when I did my study abroad programs when I was at university. This summary is designed to help you talk confidently about your experience in the future. And we will be using this summary at the unpacking event towards the end of the program. So when you get your midterm review email from us, please complete it because it's in your best interests. Your summary won't make sense and you will reflect on this when doing graduate school applications. Think, you know, in 20 years of digging into your email archive and finding this, how rewarding and rich that will be as well. There is a Growth Tracker video that you will have access to. And I believe that's in the student information folder. We can send a link around. It's on the screen there as well for you to watch and reflect on that. There's also a Growth Tracker video on our website. And finally, your supervisor will be completing an end of program evaluation at the end of your internships. They'll be reflecting on how you have worked with them and their organization, and that will be shared with your home university. Excellent. I'm going to run a quick poll now, and then we're going to move into the city-specific section of today's presentation, which will be shorter than this, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. This poll is to get your feedback on today's presentation. We're always looking at ways we can develop. So I'm going to run that now, but don't leave the presentation, please, because we're going to share the links with you to access your city-specific meeting today. Thank you very much. And this is anonymous, so be honest. And Almendra, if we could just have a chit chat while everyone's doing that. Yep, the next slide is just the city specific links.
Right, so just so that you're aware, in the chat box is the link to the city specific meeting. And if you are interning for organizations in Spain, you're going to be staying with me, although we're going to take a tiny little break to stretch and then we'll begin. But if you are interning for organizations in the UK, in France, in Czech Republic, in Ireland, then you will need to make sure that you have all those details. And we've also sent it to you via email. So if for whatever reason you don't copy paste what's in the chat, you can certainly get it in your email. Hattie and Jana, is there anything else you would like to say, or shall we say goodbye? I'm going to stop sharing. Sorry, let me do that.
I would say goodbye. Thank you for attending this presentation. I am looking forward to meeting Prague interns in a couple of minutes.
Okay, and everybody was able to get that, right? Everybody saw the link? If that's the case, then perfect. Go off, be merry, and I will stay here with the people from Madrid. And if people in Madrid could turn on their camera,